Welcome to Diva On A Mission podcast, where we share snippets of joy to uplift, inspire, and motivate you. I am your host, Eva the Diva, and I am thrilled to bring you stories that transform everyday moments into profound experiences. I'm excited to start a new week. I spent last weekend at the Nairobi Afro Latin Festival, and it was awesome to spend a weekend with people who love the same things I do in terms of dance and performance and events. And these are relationships, friendships that have been formed through my pursuit of the things that make me happy. I didn't take any of that for granted. It was just amazing to be with people who just love to dance, move, have a good time, no drama, and just spend time enjoying music and dance. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for everything that transpired this weekend. So I was also thinking, as I was spending time with my people, my tribe, I was thinking about the difference between soul and spirit. And I thought I would reflect on that. How do we learn to dance within those two, the soul versus the spirit? Who are the two different voices inside of us? One says, "This is what I feel," the other whispers, "But what is true?" One carries our memories, our wounds, our desires, our fears. The other seems to reach beyond all of that to something quieter, deeper, and harder to explain. We often call these two dimensions the soul and the spirit. But what exactly is the difference? And more importantly, how do we make them dance together? Let's begin with a disclaimer of sorts. Different religions, philosophical, and spiritual traditions understand the words soul and spirit very differently. So today I'm not offering a universal definition, I'm offering a lens. So let me cook, right? A way of thinking about our inner world. Here's one way to imagine it. Your spirit is your deeper compass. Your soul is a human being holding the compass. The spirit represents that sense of connection to something greater than ourselves. God, the universe, nature, consciousness, or whatever you understand as ultimate reality. It is the part of us associated with intuition, meaning, or conscience, and that strange inner knowing that sometimes arrives before logic catches up. The soul, on the other hand, is where we experience life. Thoughts, emotions, memories, personality, desires, wounds, relationships, our stories. If the spirit is the compass, the soul is the traveler. And sometimes the traveler is exhausted. Sometimes they're terrified. They're carrying baggage that doesn't even belong to them. And sometimes the traveler simply doesn't know which direction to go. So, here's where it gets kind of murky. We often mistake emotional pain for spiritual truth. For example, we feel rejected and we conclude, "I am unworthy." We fail and we conclude, "I am a failure." Someone abandons us and we conclude, "I am not lovable." But perhaps the soul is describing an experience, not defining our essence. There's a difference between "I feel worthless" and "I am worthless." The first is an emotional experience. The second is an identity statement. And that distinction can change everything. The soul says, "I am afraid." The deeper voice might respond, "Yes, you're afraid, but fear doesn't necessarily mean stop." The soul says, "I don't know what to do." The deeper voice says, "Then become still enough to listen." Or, "This hurt me." The deeper voice says, "Honor the wound, but don't make the wound your identity." So, how do we balance between the soul and the spirit? I have a couple of ideas for you to try out. First one is let the soul speak. Being spiritual doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. You don't have to respond to anxiety with toxic positivity. You don't have to say everything happens for a reason when what you really need is to admit that this hurts. Feel it, name it, listen to it. Your emotions are information, but information isn't always instruction. You can feel fear without obeying fear. You can feel anger without becoming anger itself or being angry. You can feel grief without believing that grief is forever. This is where the spirit or your deeper sense of truth can enter the conversation. Secondly, ask questions. For example, ask your soul, what am I feeling and what do I need? Then ask your spirit, what truth am I ignoring? Don't rush to answer, write it down. You might discover that your soul needs rest while your deeper knowing is asking you to stop procrastinating. Your soul may want approval while your deeper knowing is asking you to choose yourself. Your soul may want certainty while your deeper knowing is asking you to take the next step anyway. Step number 3, move. Yes, I know, dancer telling you to move. I know it might seem all my discussions lead in one way or the other to telling you to dance, but trust. There's a reason why dance is a language that moves beyond the physical, right? It is a physical manifestation of something that moves your non-physical, if that makes sense. So, number 3, move. Sometimes we try to think our way out of emotions that need to move through the body. Dance, walk, stretch, shake, run, and if you can't do too much, simply breathe. And then be still. There's something beautiful about alternating movement and stillness. Movement allows the body to release. Stillness allows us to listen. And perhaps that's the dance. 4th, create a bridge. You don't need an elaborate ritual. Put one hand over your heart, take a breath and say, soul, you are allowed to feel. Pause, then go, spirit, show me what I need to know. Pause again, and finally say, find it in your place where you can act from both. Because balance is in choosing soul over spirit, and it is in choosing spirit over soul. It's integration. Hence, the bridge. Think about a major decision in your life. Your soul might say, everyone will be disappointed if I do this. Your deeper knowing might say, but this is the life I actually want. The answer isn't necessarily to ignore everyone, and it isn't necessarily to abandon yourself. The question becomes, how can I honor what is true while remaining practical, compassionate, and grounded? That's the sweet spot. Not reckless intuition, not endless overthinking, not people-pleasing disguised as responsibility, but truth with direction. Or more playfully, truth with feet, right? Maybe the soul and spirit were never meant to compete. The soul is here to experience the journey, and the spirit is here to remind us that the journey is bigger than any single moment. So, the next time you're overwhelmed, don't ask, which voice should I silence? Ask, what is my soul feeling? And then, what is the deeper truth asking to be heard? Because perhaps wisdom isn't found in choosing between the two, Perhaps wisdom is learning their rhythm. The soul feels, the spirit knows, the soul remembers, the spirit sees beyond memory, the soul walks the road, the spirit reminds us why we are walking. And perhaps the point isn't to silence either one. Perhaps the point is to learn the dance. I hope this conversation has been helpful to you in your journey. If you have anything to share, please send it to us at doampodcast@gmail.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Diva On A Mission podcast. Comment on our videos. Tell us what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Or follow us on TikTok at DOAMPod. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and keep listening, not only to the world around you, but to the wisdom within you. Peace. Thayo.